Hi there. Hope you're living life to the fullest. This is Jordan, your guide on the quest for boundless longevity. Welcome to the Longevity Unlocked podcast, a place where I dive deep into the world of those extraordinary everyday heroes who are rewriting the rules of aging. Today we have an incredible guest joining us on Longevity Unlocked. Amy Van Liew is here to help you break free from the limitations that often come with aging. She specialises in online workouts tailored for women over 50, focusing on strength, low impact cardio, Pilates, balance, posture, and many more. What sets Amy apart from traditional workout programs, which often cater to a younger demographic, is that our workouts leave you feeling invigorated, not beaten down. It's all about being healthy enough to enjoy the things you love in life, no matter your age. She understood that achieving and maintaining good health while navigating the inevitable aches and pains of aging requires a unique approach. So thank you again to Amy for joining us, and to our listeners, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode of Longevity Unlocked. So let's get into it. Alrighty, welcome Amy to the podcast. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come on and have a chat and share your experience and knowledge with my audience. So I'll get straight to it. And the first question I like to ask is, can you share a little bit about your upbringing and how it has influenced the person you are today?
Yes. So I'm the firstborn of very young parents. So I was, and I'm a woman. Oh, of course you could see that was a stupid thing to say, but yeah, firstborn. So, and my dad, I was born in 1962. So the generation, I think women were still, I remember not being able to wear pants to school quite yet because it wasn't appropriate. So I was right at that transition of women being able to not be just housewives. And my dad was super supportive, a very technical engineering kind of person. And he taught me to be very independent and that girls could do just as much as boys. And then, my parents were young. And not a lot of money, in fact, not a lot of money at all. And so I learned how to be resilient and learn how to take charge and be in control of my own destiny. And I ended up, and I remember my dad teaching me how to change my own oil. I had a Volkswagen convertible. I grew up in Southern California and I wanted a Volkswagen convertible. And it was purple and it
Very
was
nice.
awesome. And then my air conditioning went on. I hope that's okay. And I remember he made me change my own oil, and I had to get up underneath the car, and to get the oil to drain, it wasn't, you had to unscrew this plug. And so you're unscrewing this plug and the oil's dripping out everywhere. But he made me do that on my own. And it really just taught me, and it is that I'm the strong woman that I am today. And I went to engineering school, followed a little bit in his footsteps. I interned at a company that he was working at. So a huge influence from my father on being strong and being independent and, pursuing the engineering path that I did.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I guess
Yeah.
moving on from, starting that engineering and going into work with that, how did that kind of transition out of engineering go for you?
So I had always had a passion for health and fitness. Even in high school, eating healthy and exercising, we would get out and bike ride and just play all the time. And then in college, I had a weight problem. I don't know if in Australia, in United States, they call it the freshman 15, where college students gain a bunch of weight because they're at school and they're eating all the junk food and things like that. I had the freshman 30. I gained 30 pounds, and so I really started getting into exercise and fitness. Then I worked at my job. I worked for Hewlett Packard here in San Diego for 26 years, and through that career, I taught fitness classes at the gym for free. I participated in all of the fitness activities, and they were really good about that. So I got at 50, they shut down the division that I was in, and at the same time offered an early retirement. So if you were a certain age and had so many years of service, you could select to leave, and they gave you a pretty good package. It was almost too good to be true because the business that I was in was going away. And I I got a book by a gentleman called Jack Canfield. I don't know if you've heard of Jack Canfield. He wrote a bunch of Soup for the Soul books, and he wrote a book called The Success Principles: How to Get from Where You Are to Where You Want to Be. And it stepped you through all these fun exercises, finding what your passion is. Where do you spend hours, doing something, and you look up at the clock and go, oh my gosh, that was it. And health and fitness was that for me. So I said, I'm going to leave HP. I'm going to become a personal trainer. I had already gotten my personal training certificate, and I was always doing some things fitness wise. And so I started teaching group classes in my garage. I started doing some one-on-one training. And then I started making videos to help my one-on-one clients, because one-on personal training can get expensive. So go do this video, and then that's your homework. And we met maybe once or twice a week or once or twice a month. And then I met a gentleman who helped me create a whole website, and we filmed 48 workout videos in 2 weekends. And most of my
Wow.
workout videos all of this was all tailored for women over 50, because that's what the women that started gravitating towards me in my neighborhood. And all of us, once you hit 50, you'll know, once you hit 50, things start to happen, like, oh, your shoulder will start to hurt, or your foot will start to hurt, or something will start to hurt. And so how do you work around those aches and pains that creep in? So that was 2018. I launched an online platform 2019, and you guys know what happened in 2020. It's like, wow. And so
Oh,
I started out with 48 workout videos. When I launched, I got 12 people. Most of them were my friends to join. And now I've had over 500 women come through. I have over 500 workout videos. In fact, right before my call, I was just planning another workout video, because next month is Osteoporosis Awareness Month, and I'm an osteoporosis fitness specialist. So I was creating some new workouts to help with that. I'm going to take a breath. That was a
yeah.
lot. So that was my journey from engineer to what I'm doing now. And I am having the time of my life. I work way too much, but it doesn't feel like work to me. So I'm happy. And I'm 60 now. I'll be 61 in December. So I've been doing this for about just 10 years now.
That's fantastic.
I'm gonna take a sip
And
of
yeah,
water.
you pretty much said it. Like, it's not really work if you're really enjoying it, and
Agree.
you're helping other people, I guess,
Yeah.
look after
Yeah.
themselves and reduce that risk of kind of injury or just kind of health issues later on in life.
Yeah, because it does happen, and that happened to me. And you just never know. And I think for most people, the secret to longevity, I think, is keeping a strong, resilient body, because those things happen. I was diagnosed with breast cancer too last December, and I swear that I was able to start exercising and moving because my body was strong enough to deal with it. I worked out, I built up my muscles, I built up the mobility in my shoulder to deal with it. I could squat down and pick up something if something fell on the floor. So again, I maintained my independence. But it's keeping our bodies strong, not for the losing of the weight like we did in college. I did in college, the toned arms and flat bellies, but it's now just to be, and my company's name is Be Healthy Enough. So be healthy enough to do all those things you love to do in life, but also to deal with the things that can come at us as we get older, which people, if they're over 50, know what I'm talking about.
Nah, spot on. And I guess I wanted to highlight the thing you said, that although you've done all this exercise throughout your life, it doesn't exclude you from getting health issues or conditions later on in life. So if you're able to kind of get that experience and do
Yeah.
the exercise and kind of look after your body earlier on, it'll be able to allow you to manage it better when you do get those health concerns. So I'm not trying to say if you do exercise and look after your diet and all that kind of things when you're like 40, 50, and you're not going to get anything when you're 60 and 70, but
Yeah.
it's going to allow you to better manage it and get through it, and continue to kind of maintain your strength and I guess live out your purpose.
Yeah, and just be able to do the things that you love to do. I mean, and it is inevitable. We're all going to have something go wrong. So why not be as strong as we can to combat that?
Mm-hmm.
Because I I mean, everybody, when I told people that I got breast cancer, they were floored because I'm always that healthy one. I've been able to maintain my weight. When I was at HP, I'd bring my bag of veggies and I'd be eating my healthy foods, and people at parties would see what I have on my plate going, okay, Amy, but I drink wine, I eat French fries, I eat stuff, but overall, 80% of the time I'm healthy. So it was a shock, and it was a good thing, because a lot of people, once they heard, it's like, if it can happen to Amy, it can happen to me. So women started going getting their mammograms, which is important, or getting blood work and health checked. And I think hopefully that I can have an influence on that a little bit, for people to be aware that even if you're healthy, you're not immune.
Mm-hmm. And I guess more about these kind of challenges and hardships in life. Do you have
Mhm.
any kind of tips or specific strategies that you use to maintain that positive outlook during those times?
Um, yeah, and it's my faith, the faith that I've got my angels and my higher power watching over me. I was brought up Christian. I would consider myself a spiritual person. I'm not very religious, but I have my little angels, and relying on just the strength of that, and the support of, I have a husband. We've been married just this month 35 years, and the support of
Congrats.
friends and family, and that's what gets me through it. But also having that purpose, and having this purpose that I've created for myself, or my higher power created for me, in this later half of life, and helping women get moving and feeling better, even with those darn aches and pains. And so that having my faith, because I've had a lot of struggles. I mean, it's not all roses. I am a very internally, or externally, I've come across as very, very positive. And I do look at the glass half full, not the glass half empty. But I've had struggles. We tried for years and years to have children. We're never able to have children. So that was a big challenge, family issues, deaths. And my husband had several traumatic deaths in the family, and loss of pets, and loss of jobs, and loss of this and loss of that. I think just being able to call on an inner power, and then being grateful for what I have and not what I don't have. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I guess all these kind of hardships and challenges throughout your life just kind of
Yeah.
make you more resilient and be able to kind of
Oh,
manage the things that keep on coming at you better instead of
oh
kind
my
of,
gosh.
yeah.
If I look back, and the path of my life, and those horrible things that happen, we'll all have something really horrible. I look back, and like, that was the best thing that ever happened to me. Breast cancer, which was devastating. It was one of the best things for me. It sparked me. It created this fire inside me, and this sense of just enjoying the moment, which I was a kind of a workaholic before that happened. I was work, 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 let's go have fun here and there. But I was on, if you're an entrepreneur, you kind of know, you get on you have to work 24/7. Before, when I worked for HP, it was, during the days of the week, and I travel a lot with my company. But it could shut it down. I could leave that behind. I struggle still shutting down being an entrepreneur, because I've got so many great ideas, so many fun
Nah, I
things I
could
want to
definitely relate to
do.
that.
I bet you can. I mean, see all these people that you want to have on your podcast and help. That it can get overwhelming, and unless you take time to shut it down, it can get you can be smothered. I think you can, like, dampen your light a bit. So it's important to take a breath. And sometimes if you don't, you'll be forced to. And I think that's what happened to me. I tell people, when they're exercising, if you've got a little pain in your shoulder, it starts to tap on your shoulder, or your knee. If you don't listen, it will start screaming at you. And that's kind of the same with, I think, a lot of stressors are in our life. If we don't stop and pay attention to that, and kind of, okay, what does this mean? How can I get through this? How can I breathe? It can be soul crushing. So it's
Mhm.
important to listen.
Now, thanks for that, Amy.
You're welcome.
Uh, I wanted to also ask if you had what kind of tips or strategies you've used to kind of cultivate and nurture those meaningful relationships throughout your life.
Mhm. Yeah. I would consider myself, what's the word I'm looking for? When you're not outgoing, oh my gosh, what's the other word?
Introvert?
You're introvert. Thank you. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Sorry. I'm definitely an introvert. I can be externally extroverted when I need to be, but I definitely get my energy. I get energy from being alone and being at nature. So I do have to work at cultivating relationships. When I was younger, it was, a lot of superficial, a lot of quantity relationships. That way I would consider them superficial. So I would give them my time. But now as I've gotten older, it's more about quality relationships. And so setting reminders to, oh, I need to talk to Gail. I haven't talked to her in a while. Or my husband and I, because being married 35 years, we can sometimes take each other for granted. But
Hmm.
taking the time to, let's go to the movies. Let's go out this morning. We went to breakfast and we went to Costco and we went shopping and we spent some time together. And then just making time. I think as an entrepreneur, if you're watching this, you're an entrepreneur. I think time is our biggest commodity in our world, and taking the time to spend with the others that we want to build those relationships with, and think and saying, looking at some relationships that maybe we don't need to spend time on. Do you know what I mean about that? Some of them where it's maybe time to let them go, and they're
Hmm.
not worth. It's time to cut ties because it's not beneficial for you and it can be pulling you down a bit. Those are tougher ones. Those are really hard because you really have to think about why and what you're meant to learn from that, and then the sadness of letting something let go, especially if it's a family member, which I have one of those I'm working on.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess to highlight one of the key points you mentioned is that the quality relationship. Because
Yeah.
if, like, I know it's a lot of people like to have many friends, but if you're not kind of, if you're just spending time with them just for the sake of, and it's, I guess, not giving you any joy, or it's more of a kind of a, like a burden on you, or I'm catching
Yeah.
up with so and so again, it's like, it's not going to benefit you in the
Mm-mm.
future. So it's better to just not like just get rid of them. Obviously,
No.
gently and like as nicely as you can explain to them why, and maybe how you don't have to see them as often. Maybe it's just like a once a year thing, just to kind of see how they're going, have a chat, and then allocate more time to those ones that kind of lift you up and bring you joy.
Yeah. Yeah. That one I'm still working on. That one is a work in progress that I'm still trying to dig deep into that one, because that's hard. That's hard
Yeah,
to internalize that, oh, this friend that you've had for years or this family member just zaps you, or we call them energy vampires, where they suck your energy
yeah.
and don't give back to you. It's hard to realize that and let that go. But to be honest, it's probably one, like all of the things that are difficult in life. It can be the best for you, the most rewarding.
And in regards
In
to finding and nurturing those relationships that you do want, it's, I know you might say, oh, they don't really start like message me to do anything, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes they're thinking the same thing. So you have to kind of offer out once or
Yeah,
twice. And if
yeah,
they, then it starts to kind of reciprocate, then you know that
yeah.
it's working. But if it's continuously you, then sometimes you just have to kind of let it go.
And so I have a girlfriend like that where we can go a couple weeks, maybe even a month with not checking in. And we'll laugh, we'll get together, and each of us had this whole little thing going on our brain. And what did I do? What did I do to make her mad? Why isn't she contacting me? And the thing is, we were both doing that same thing.
Yeah.
And so it was really silly that we just should have just we said, let's make a pact. that even though we get busy with our life, it doesn't mean we're not thinking about you. Or a pact where, if you come into my mind, that's a chance. Maybe we're thinking about each other and we should reach out. So we do that, and we'll quick text, and that's all we need. But it's kind of funny because, yeah, you're right. You're right. You may be thinking, well, I need to let this person go because they're not reciprocating, but they may be thinking the same about you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to just be honest and go, hey, do you want to be in this friendship, or do you have time for me, or are you at this stage in your life where you just need a break? And just be honest.
And it's just that quick text, like you mentioned. Like it
Yep.
doesn't, you don't have to call them and have a
Mm-mm.
20-minute conversation or
No.
longer. It's just a quick
No.
text. And then
Hey,
just
I'm thinking about you.
exactly. And that can
Yep.
mean the world or make their day.
Oh, I
So
know. And if you think about that, they may need you at that point. It may be just exactly what they need, is that quick text from you to pull them out of a funk that they're in or something that they're going through. Send them a picture, a funny picture of your pet or something that's going on in your life. That's helps me a lot.
that beautiful. I think we covered some great points there in regards to relationships. I now wanted to kind of transition into, I guess, nutrition. So,
Ah.
um, what are your kind of beliefs and values around nutrition, and any kind of tips and kind of strategies that you can kind of give to the audience?
Yeah, oh man, oh man, oh man, I've experimented with everything. Everybody is different. Diets don't work.
Hmm.
You can't exercise away a bad diet, but you have to eat healthy. Only 80, about 80, these are all my cliches I use. About 80% of the time, and 20% of the time, maybe 10, 15%, you've got to splurge and enjoy life. Otherwise, you'll go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, because you can't go on. My philosophy and what I teach with all my clients: prioritize. If you're over 50, you need to be prioritizing protein in your diet as much as possible. We start to lose muscle mass at the age 40, even men, maybe a little bit later than women. We start to lose that muscle mass, and that muscle mass is key for longevity because, one, muscle mass is directly related to your metabolism, which means you start to lose muscle mass, you're gonna start to gain weight just eating the same way and doing the same thing that you did in your 30s. So, and protein helps with muscle mass. So I'd like to just focus on getting my protein into each meal, filling it in with good, clean vegetables, minimizing the processed foods. I don't think fanatical diets will work. If you are at a spot where, you just need a reset, maybe a couple week, um, clean eating meal, or some people like to go low carb. Low carb works. I mean, if you want to lose weight, but it's just not sustainable. So, my company's Be Healthy Enough for a reason, because I went back to school for nutrition and started learning about all these diets: keto, raw, vegan, high protein, low carb, all these crazy things.
Hmm.
And I told my husband, I was like, I just want to be healthy enough. And so, and I truly do believe that if we can just fuel our body with the good foods and move enough to keep our body healthy, not so much that we're going to hurt ourselves, that we can have success in meeting our health goals. I do believe there are some instances where, oh, my women and hormones, we start to get our hormones out of whack, and that causes a whole big disruption in our system, an
Yep.
injury, a health problem. Um, Lots of things can throw things out of whack. So we just have to just kind of, go be with where you're at and work with your doctor as much as you can to figure out what's going on. Did
Yeah,
that,
spot.
that's not a very, that's not a, I'm not a proponent of prescribing a diet, because everybody's different. You've got to find, I have an ideal plate guide where you have half veggies, a quarter protein and a quarter healthy carb. But I have my clients pick what protein they like and what veggies they like. Because if you don't like peas, you're not going to eat peas. Or if you don't like steak, you're not going to eat steak. So find the proteins and the healthy carbs and the vegetables that you like, and make your plates out of that.
And yeah, would you be able to kind of provide us with some healthy protein um,
Mm.
ideas that people can
Yeah, yeah. I'm not a vegetarian. I eat meat. I try to eat grass-fed, grass-finished, low hormones whenever I can. But fish by far is the best. It's got the best things for you, all of the omegas, the good fats that we need. You got to be careful of some of the canned fish, and some of the farm raised fish, because they're finding some things in it. But yet again, don't be fanatical. If you're a woman, and bone health is a big deal, so getting calcium, canned salmon with the bones and everything, it's kind of gross, but it is really good for you. It's got so much calcium and some vitamin D's, and not vitamin D. There's not many foods with vitamin D, but vitamin D will help your bones. But it's got good calcium, good protein. And then chicken, and I'll have a steak every once in a while. And in fact, this weekend, I think it's Labor Day. It's going to be Labor Day weekend here in the States. So I think we're going to barbecue a nice good steak. I get grass-fed, grass-finished when I can. But those are protein. And then there's all those non-meat, the legumes, and and I do buy a good protein powder too when I cannot fit in protein, especially in the morning. Sometimes in the morning, it's like, I'm not going to eat eggs. Eggs are good, but they don't have a lot of protein. I think 6 grams per, and typically I try to get 30 grams per meal of protein. So you have to eat a lot of eggs to get a lot of protein.
Yeah.
But so I throw in a protein powder shake that I found that I like.
Yeah, I haven't heard of the tinned salmon that you mentioned with all the bones and things in it. That
Yeah.
sounds interesting.
Yeah, it can look kind of gross, but and they're not real big bones, they're little bones. But that's the top one as far as calcium is concerned, with regards. And if you can't eat dairy, dairy is the highest form of calcium that we can get. But some people can't do dairy, especially as we get older. We get a little bit more sensitive to dairy.
Yeah. And I guess I'll just add some other kind of non meat options like tofu and tempeh as
Yes,
other sources of
yes.
protein. Yeah.
Yes, I am not a big fan of tofu, so I didn't even mention it, but yes, they're great. And the legumes, and they do have a lot of non-vegetarian options that use tofu, and some other, like the Beyond Burger and some of those other things. And I have not tried those, but I've heard they're really good. My niece is a vegetarian.
Yeah. I guess sometimes you got to be careful with some of those ones because they could be high in other things to make it taste a bit better. So like in moderation, but try and stick to the whole foods kind of stuff. That's my
That's my goal.
belief. Yeah.
Yeah, mine too.
A-
Mine too.
And I also wanted to ask about, you mentioned about the omega-3s and
Yeah.
getting the through that fish, but just the importance of getting those kind of those fatty acids and omega-3s for cognitive health as we get older.
Yes. Yes. Yes, I was pretty proud. I've been doing some blood work for my breast cancer, trying to boost my immune system and things like that. And my omega-3 ratio, the doctor said he hadn't seen anything quite so high, so good. Omega-3 to omega-6, the omega-6 are the bad ones. And mine was really high, so I was pretty proud. I do take a fish oil supplement. I stopped. He made me stop because I didn't need it, because I eat salmon probably 2 or 3 times a week, and we eat fish maybe 2 times a week, salmon. I'll buy in fact, I went to Costco, bought a big thing of salmon. I'll pop it in the oven and just bake it with some real good seasoning. And then my husband doesn't like it, so I portion it out and I use it for my lunch. I'll just put salmon with some frozen veggies and some whole grains like brown rice or quinoa or something. And that's my lunch. I buy a little bit of, they have some really good sauces that are low sugar. I don't remember the guy's name, but in the States we can get them. Even on Amazon we can get them, that are real good to add some seasoning to it. It's perfect. It's satisfying, and when you eat that good stuff, that good protein, the good carbs, you just feel full. You're not hungry all the time, and you keep down the processed carbs like breads and stuff. Those just make you hungry. So you're like hungry 2 hours later. Even white rice, I cannot eat white rice anymore. I'm hungry an hour later.
Nah, spot on. So that's why
Yeah.
I don't know if some people might not feel, but when you do have like kind of like kind of fast food meal,
Mhm.
1 to 2 hours, you just feel quite
Oh,
groggy and sluggish. And that's because, and your body's trying to say, oh, I need more food to, so,
yeah.
um,
Well, your blood sugar spiked way
yeah.
up and then it crashed way down. So you get into, I call it the hunger monster. If your insulin's way down,
Hmm.
your blood sugar's way down, sorry, your body wants everything to do in its power to get that glucose to your brain. So it's just that hunger monster goes crazy. It happens to me all the time. I cannot eat. We went to breakfast this morning and I wanted a pancake. So I got a whole grain pancake, but I had my eggs, my veggie scramble. But if I had just ate that pancake, I would have been shaky and hungry an hour later.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Um, Great. Love that discussion about nutrition. And the last one I wanted to just dive a little bit more deep into was the exercise and what you believe kind of 50, 60-year-old adults can do starting from today to kind of help them on their way.
I'm going to get on my soapbox here. If you are not doing strength training, you are doing your body such a disservice. You've got to be building muscle mass. And it not only helps with keeping your body strong and resilient for not if, but when you trip, because we're all going to trip. It's going to keep when you put resistance on your muscles, you're putting resistance on your bones. It helps build bone density. Um, it helps with your like your balance, your posture, and it doesn't have to be crazy. 2 times a week. You don't have to be doing strength training 3 times a week. I do strength my workout plans. I have a strength workout on Mondays and Fridays, full body. Sometimes I'll mix it up and I'll do a lower body Monday, upper body Tuesday, and a core on Wednesday. And I make sure that I give myself two, when you're over 50, at least 1 to 2 days, probably 2 days of recovery. Because when you're doing a strength training, you don't want to lift just light weights 100 times. You want to be lifting heavy enough weight to where you can't do more than 12 repetitions. Now, there are some limitations. Some women in my group have hand issues. So we get to muscle fatigue by doing slower reps. We use lighter weights, slower,
Time
more
under
reps.
tension.
Yep, time under tension, exactly. And then we start the progressive overload. So when that gets easy, you got to make it harder.
Hmm.
So, but again, my workouts are 30 minutes. I'm saying you can do a basic strength training, squats, bicep curls, maybe some deadlifts, some shoulder press, chest press, um, some rows, getting those big muscles. So you build up that muscle mass. And then what I do is I fill in everything else like dessert, going for a walk for mental health, working on your core. Another thing, I do my core days or Wednesdays where I do a Pilates or I do some core strengthening to help keep my spine and my posture, my balance and my hips, and then mobility and stretching too. Those, I call those all desserts or add-ins, because that prioritizing that strength training is the key to longevity. It's totally the key to longevity. I'm a firm believer. It's the key to being able to beat breast cancer and have come out the other side of breast cancer as strong as you were and get through it. Can I get off my soapbox now?
Nah, that was great. I just wanted to ask when you mentioned about the walking as well,
Um,
was there like a time or like an intensity that you normally kind of give to that?
you know, um, it depends. It depends on what your goals are, definitely. Um, for 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 most people, you want to be moving about 30 minutes 5 times a week, getting that heart rate pumping. Me personally, I like a little bit longer because I'm a little bit more physically fit. If you're just starting out, getting up and walking around the house for 5 minutes, that's perfect. To be honest, I think in the world today, sitting is one of our biggest problems. They say sitting is this new smoking, and I
Hmm.
love to do. I call them exercise snacks, where you get up. I set a timer on my phone every 30 minutes. When you're just sitting there, things are just pooling in your body. Your joints are getting, I call it motion is blotion and rest is rust. I get up for 5 minutes. Sometimes I ignore the timer, I'm not going to lie, but I try to get up and move for about 5 minutes. And I have an exercise. For some people that come to me, I'm stuck. I haven't worked out in months. I don't know what to do. I tell them 5 minutes for 5 days, whether it be walking, doing some chair squats, something. 5 minutes for 5 days, no more, no less. Once you get to 5 days of 5 minutes, then you go 10 minutes for 5 days, and then you go 20 minutes. It's kind of all where you're starting out. So I don't like to prescribe, oh, you need 30 minutes 5 days a week. It's just where you're at. I need more than that because for physically, we live on a hill, so I walk the hills. I can't run. I used to be a runner, but I can't run because it hurts my knees. But go up a hill is that my heart rate gets just as high as if I'm running. But getting that heart rate up so you get those endorphins, exercise is truly like an antidepressant. If you're feeling sad, have you ever done that? You're feeling angry or sad and you just get out and go for a run or go for a walk, you can feel better. That's my prescription as far as cardio. It's just part of being moving. Now if you have problems with your joints, which we all start to do, swimming or biking or elliptical, just know that those are not for bone building. So if you've got osteopenia or osteoporosis, you've got to do some things that you do a little bit of an impact or strength training. So it's all depending on what your goals are and each individual, but just finding the way to move as much as you can throughout the day.
And yeah, just to summarize that for everyone, it's just starting.
Yes.
Doing that kind of 1, 2, 3, 5 minutes, just start.
Yeah.
And then
And
you can
don't
work.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then
And
slowly build up.
get that devil off your shoulder that says, if it's not an hour sweaty long workout, it's not worth it. Because a lot of people get into that all or nothing, where if I'm not in that hour-long class that I used to do when I was 30 or 40, then it's no good. No. Just moving. It is what it is. And you do not need to do what you did in your 30s to feel good. In fact, if you do that, you're going to get hurt. I promise. That's everybody starts my program. Sometimes they'll get overzealous and they do too much. And then I hear, oh, Amy, now my shoulder hurts or my back hurts or my knee hurts. You started too fast. So just go slow, but just do something.
Perfect. Yep. Great points, Amy. And I guess now I'll ask you the final question, which I like to ask everyone who comes onto the podcast. And that is, in your opinion, what is the most important ingredient to living a happy and fulfilling life?
Having a purpose. Having a reason to get out of bed every morning. And that purpose could be anything. When I was at my job at HP, it was my job. And now I have this purpose, this business that I have. Maybe it's you have a dog you have to walk or a husband you have to take care of, but you've got to find a purpose. You've got to find a reason why you're here, why you're on this earth. And that Jack Canfield book could be a good one. And there's a lot of other resources out there. Just Google, how do I find my purpose? And if you're lost or struggling, it can be hard for people once they retire, especially if you hit that button, I'm retired now. What am I going to do? Even retirees have to have a purpose, whether it be I'm going to start a garden, or a garden that you have to take care of, or just something. You're going to have a hobby, you're going to join a book club. You have to have a purpose. Enough said.
Nah, that's great, because I feel like people see something, oh yeah, I'll do this. They get excited, first week over, and then it slowly drops off. So that purpose is there to kind of keep you going and make it sustainable, so that you can keep on, I guess, referring back to it. I'm like, yeah, I do want to keep on working on this garden, for example, and otherwise it'll the weeds will grow and it'll start to die out. So we need to have something there to kind of keep us pushing and going forward. And I think that's the key, and that's where it all starts from, because you can do the exercise and all that kind of things, but if you don't have that kind of purpose to kind of back it up with, I think it won't be as, I guess, sustainable for you. But yes, thanks again, Amy, for coming on.
You're so welcome.
Really appreciate all the knowledge and tips you've given us. And yes, thank you again.
You are so welcome. It was fun sharing.
Thank you so much for joining me today on Longevity Unlocked. If you found today's discussion enlightening and you're eager to learn more about living your best and healthiest life well into your golden years, I invite you to hit that subscribe button right below. And if you've enjoyed our chat today, giving this video a quick thumbs up would mean the world to me. Your likes help us reach even more individuals who, like you and me, are passionate about unlocking the secrets to longevity. So this is Jordan signing off from the Longevity Unlocked podcast. Stay youthful, stay vibrant, and take care.